Hello, everyone. What is going on? Professor Gold here, and I've taken over the ALP podcast. Professor Goat, what are you talking about? It's the ILP podcast? No, it's the ALP podcast, but I'm renaming it to the Professor Gold Show. Okay, if you say so, sir. Yes. And I'm here, joined with James. How's it going, everyone? The host, Professor Goat, the new host. Way!
Yes, hello. Mock roast has returned. The subject of today's roast is James. Congratulations.
Yeah, awesome. So, it has been a while since the world has heard from Professor Goat, the online space. Obviously, me and him, I joined one of his streams months and months ago, and Goat was like, I'm moving into the middle of nowhere, so you won't see me ever again because the connection's bad. And
I
was
didn't specifically say, I just said I wouldn't have fiber anymore.
yeah.
So it works. It's just not nearly as good, but it's mostly stable now.
That's good. And then you hit me up with a message not too long ago. Where was it? It wasn't. Yeah, earlier this year. You sent me a message, and I'm like, "Damn, Goat's returned! Awesome, legendary, 10 out of 10." And obviously, the Asgard Project episode 2 came out, which was pretty dope. And you've moved, and I'm loving the new setup, bro. It really is.
It's
dope.
still a work in progress, but yes. Pretty much every wall of my new lab is filled with Lego, and it's quite nice.
Sick, man. Respect. Obviously, you told me you got married as well, and you're a Lego designer as well. So congrats on both of those.
I'm married to my work. I don't know what you're talking about, but yes. And I am working on virtual Lego models. I will say that is my job, and I'm under NDA. I can't tell you anything else, so no questions.
Go, you can tell me about all the new Lego Star Wars sets you design, and you can tell me I'm above Lego, I'm above Joe Rogan.
I forgot to clear. I forgot.
Yeah.
You've already been cleared for the insider information. I'll tell you all about it after the stream.
Straight after the podcast, tell me every single little smidge of insider information. Perfect.
That's right.
Now, but on a serious note, then I was actually going to ask about Lego and shit. I know you probably can't say too much, but are they a good company to work for, or not, or is it?
I'm not officially working for Lego. I'm a contractor working on Lego related projects, and that's all I can legally say that I know of.
So you will pay well.
It pays. I can't discuss that technically either. That was part of the NDA. That's how NDAs work. But I will say that there's a good chance that if you play games, you may see my creations in there at some point. Not a guarantee.
So, do you enjoy it then? Are you allowed to say if you enjoy it or not, or is that protected by the NDA? Or?
Well, like that's just anything directly revealing information about the project I can't say, but it's enjoyable. There's certain aspects of it, just Lego as work, that is kind of foreign, and it's a different approach to when you're doing something as a job, especially when you're expecting to produce something as a product. So you get in like a factory mindset, but you have to find a balance between that and goofing off like a kid and finding something fun and creative. So being in that right mindset to both being like, okay, I need to build something, while also saying, oh, I have an idea to actually pull something off in a unique and fun way. Finding that balance, it's a very particular headspace that I haven't quite fully realized yet. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I mean, obviously, I know that you're from like a family of Lego builders, and you've built Lego your whole life and done all that jazz, and it's pretty much, I'm assuming, somewhat like clockwork with the things that you've came out with, the sets that you've came out with. Well, not the sets, but like the creations that you've done and what have you. So I'm guessing it is a bit like clockwork. So, but obviously, having to do that, even if you enjoy it, even if it is a great side hobby and a massive passion, having to do that 24/7, well, not 24/7, but as your actual job, it is a bit more difficult to get used to and adjust to, because you're like, yeah, I enjoy this, but I did this as like a release to sort of like as a distraction, as an outlet to just what I enjoy. And now I'm having to graft at it all the time. Will it still be the same? Will it still be that fun outlet?
Someone left a comment. I'm not sure I approve.
Oh, no. I'm worried it's George. Oh, no, it's Aaron. Yes, it's the co-host of the podcast. I was worried George put something there when you were like, I don't approve.
The answer is no. The answer is
yes.
Definitive. And
the answer is yes. Oh, the answer is yes, of course, ANP. I'll look at your bum for you. Yes, sir. Professor Goat, I have a large rash on my arse. Can you have a look at it, please? Yes, sir. So Aaron Goat's flying over to the UK and he will check that rash out for you. Don't worry. So, yeah.
I think there's been some sort of miscommunication. I don't think you realize what kind of professor I am. I am a professor of transdimensional anthropology. That is completely different than a bum inspector. That's a completely different field. I do not cross over.
Exactly. But Aaron's put JK, what's up? And then he's put, yees. So, yeah. I was going to say, well, what were you saying before you said about a comment you don't approve of?
I don't recall. I've been thoroughly derailed.
Anyone with a white coat can look at my arse. Fair game.
That doesn't make it a appealing prospect.
Yeah. Well, did you say it does make it an appealing prospect?
I said it does not. Hell. Would you like to mute me again and insert words into my mouth?
Oh, sorry. The thing is, if any Americans do watch this, when I've told like American people like poo jokes and gone up and whatever and saftness, like none of them find it funny because obviously the humor's different. But I think you find some of the bum poo arse humor a bit funny, a little bit, smidge maybe.
Delivery is different, I would say. Like we don't even refer to it as arse usually. We have
ass, yeah.
Yeah, and arse is considered less offensive here for some reason.
It sounds, when you say it, sounds a bit like an Irish person going, arse, laddie.
Arse.
In your arse. Yeah. Feck off. And top of the morning, all that cool jazz. Oh, shit, I've been sent a message on this. Oh, that was just a notification. Anyway, so something that I wanted to say was, are the hours long working for the Lego contractor?
So I probably shouldn't say exactly how much I work, but it's not full days. It's not every day of the week. It's whenever I have, and whenever we have a project, I work on the project. And sometimes that's most of the week. Some days that's not that much. It depends on how much, what particular projects need to be accomplished for our clients.
So say if you graft him for a week, could you potentially have another week off?
It wouldn't be paid.
Okay, so it's sort of like, it sounds a bit like a freelancer, like sort of like,
yeah, it's a contractor, but yeah. I can't get into anymore, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, all sort of freelance work can be cool, because you're like, let's say you're a video editor, you're like, oh man, I've edited this, I've slapped all this together, 10 out of 10. I've made myself $1,000 for helping this person, whatever, this big project, great. I can relax now. And then after a few days, you're like, shit, I haven't got any work. What the fuck am I going to do? So, while it is nice to have the time off, it is still a stress, isn't it, in some ways?
I do have, I'm working for another, I'm working on, I have other work opportunities as well.
Oh, okay, fair.
I'm assisting other projects as well.
Fair enough. So, I was going to ask you one last thing about the Lego job. Are you allowed to shit on Lego still online, or will they be like, mate, you're slagging us off, bro? What are you doing?
So, none of that was explicitly covered in the contract, but you don't want to air, in general, if you're in contact with anyone you're working for or with, you don't want to air their dirty laundry.
Yeah.
Public. like behind the scenes, people will always have their gripes about like at a previous job, someone would say, "Oh, these hours suck. Oh, the benefits suck," or something. And there's ways you go about it, especially being public facing about it. Like
Mhm.
you can say, "Yeah, this thing about my job annoys me." People say that about their job all the
Yeah,
time.
we all do.
It's when you talk your company directly and publicly, that's when you that's pushing a line, and you want to maintain a level of professionalism where in any job
Yeah,
you can vent a little bit to your coworkers within reason, but you don't want to make a scene
yeah, I get
just in
you.
general.
Like what I sort of mean is like M&R. He was like part of the. It was some sort of Lego program thing where like you. I think he was like a partner with a Lego company in somewhere. I can't remember it because it was like a year ago. And then he started like criticizing them a bit, and then they said, "All right, we're kicking you out of the Lego partner program. It's not called that; it's called something else." Then he was like, "All I did was have a go at one of their sets, and they like kicked me out of this thing just because I was honest." Like he didn't say, "Screw Lego, they're the worst company ever." Rah! You know, he was just like, oh, "I think this is an objectively bad decision." But obviously, he's just a YouTuber; he doesn't actually directly work for them. So
Yeah, that's I know what you're talking about. That's related to the LAN community partners.
that's it. Yeah.
Like
Man.
it's a different format because like that tool is designed for RLUGs, recognized Lego user groups,
Mhm.
not necessarily YouTube content creators. So, and Lego Legal has it's petty, just
Yeah.
in general, with all their takedowns and such. I get why they're obsessed with preserving their IP, especially since a lot of Lego elements aren't technically copywritten, aside from like the Lego logo, and those are trademarks. So they're very protective of their IP and trademarks for that particular reason. They don't want to lose any more ground in a legal sense. And as a result, they seem to be, I just from an observer, they seem to be very cautious about how that is presented.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just how some businesses are, and they've all got their ways of dealing with things. I mean, Nintendo, they really, really go after people over nothing sometimes. And you know
Yeah.
how companies are with YouTube crap. They're like, oh, played a bit of our music. The AI will get rid of the automated AI will get rid of your video or demonetize you. And it's like, damn, you know, these companies are very protective. But I suppose they've got to make their money to a certain extent. I guess it depends the reason they're going after you and what they say. Like if M&R, in my opinion, M&R just slagging Lego off a bit objectively and making good points and pointing them out on their mistakes, trying to help them improve. I think that's like fine, you know. But obviously, if he was saying, "I'm part of the," oh, sorry, go on.
Often it comes down to, I think, tone and delivery.
Yeah,
And if you say something, you be a little bit more polite than you mean, they'll give you a lot more leeway. While if they think you're coming off aggressive, um, it's a bit different. Or if you're just constantly knocking their products, they're paying your bills in part with like all the insider products and stuff. Like there's one Lego designer, former Lego designer turned YouTuber I watch. What's his name? Um, can't quite recall his name, and it's on my list somewhere. But he's a Lego designer. He does knock it up. Some of the sets, just saying this could have been better. This could have been better. And he always preface it with, in my opinion, some things he's quite
yeah,
critical of. I don't know how they decide it, and I definitely understand why people would be frustrated because having access and accepting the limitations that Lego puts on you if you're part of their community partner program, that's definitely a tenuous relationship. And I understand why that would be frustrating, frankly, for both parties. It's not something I look into in detail.
yeah,
I understand where the frustration originates from.
for sure. So what I wanted to move on to, though, obviously I've bombarded you with a million questions about your job, but it is intriguing to have like, a friend who's like, obviously you were offered to go on Lego Masters and you were like, nah, mate, you turned that down, gangster move. I thought it would have been a bad move, but then you phrase it to me like, well, at the end of the day, I have the clout to say, well, I can use this as swagger. At the end of the day, I turned down Lego Masters. I said no. I was too good for him. Thug life. But being an actual like Lego designer, I was like, damn, that's cool. Even though I thought like, well, it's sort of inevitable for someone who's building all these amazing things to get that job. You don't know, because there's a lot of people who are passionate about stuff and they
There's
don't get the
frankly
job
there's
passionate.
frankly a lot of people who are probably more deserving of it, but
You reckon?
there's some insanely good builders out there,
No.
and I consider myself fortunate to be in the position I am.
Mhm.
And when you say Lego designer, there's a huge asterisk on the end of that, because I don't officially work for Lego. I'm just a contractor working on projects related to
Yeah.
Lego virtual design.
It's for King John Brick's shoddy little business in Boston.
We're not getting into that we're not talking about that here on the podcast. I have an NDA. If you want to learn more about that, you have to sign the NDA.
Okay, fair enough, yeah. But yeah, so what I wanted to move on to now was, I nearly said Asterix the Gaul then. Asger. The new episode.
Asger. So the Asger project is my little goofy attempt at world building. But the last episode debuted yesterday. It's not exactly something I'm extremely proud of, but I think it has some good bits in it. I'm not sure if you've watched it all the way through.
I have, yeah. I did watch it. I was really hyped for the end, and then I
cut a lot of parts, including that, because there was a lot of parts I cut because it's set up for things that I'm not sure I'm necessarily going to get to directly. It's something I still want to explore at some point, maybe in shorter form. And I'm sorry for disappointing you like that.
No, it was fine, because I was thinking to myself when I first saw it, I saw, oh, someone's left a comment. Then I scrolled down and I saw the big comment from you saying about how, actually, we might as well get it for the context for the sake of the podcast. But obviously,
but yeah, like behind the scenes, I've been working on for Lego World Builder. I've been commissioned to make some comics with an artist, Ninja Bait, and the art he's done for it is pretty good. So that's at the time that started, which was around August or September that I received that, which was about when I started picking up work on the episode again.
Mm-hmm.
Then the episode took a back seat because I had to basically design all of the Asger projects assets virtually from scratch so that the artist could use it for reference. Mm-hmm. And I haven't shown all of the. Pretty soon I'm going to debut all of the interior pieces that I've been working on for the model. But there's a 5+ foot Lego spaceship that has a full interior and no gaps, almost no studs, no knobs showing. And it all has to fit within that space. I'm not doing any TARDIS gimmicks. It all has to function. And it's still not even 100% done. It's only about 80 to 90% done, but it was enough for the comics purposes. And I'm working on finishing those assets so that they can potentially be used in 3D rendering and potentially long-term 3D animation. So that's kind of where the project has been pivoting, because right now I'm kind of straddled with real life, and
for sure.
As much as there are stories I want to tell, I'm a terrible director, and I don't feel like I'm doing my voice actors or composer justice, or I'm even doing the things I build justice by the format I've used in the past. So I want to focus on quality over quantity, even if I have enough concepts for a lot of quantity as well. It's just not viable at this point.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, life can get in the way when you're doing such big projects, and unless you're a full-time YouTuber, it is really difficult. And obviously, you've got quite a hectic schedule on your hands.
And I'm very involved with the local Lego community as well. That there's a lot of different moving parts that I'm running around with, trying to keep track of, and it's hard to keep things prioritized, I would say.
Yeah. You said like you're obviously making comics for the Lego World Builder page and what have you.
Mhm.
Um, so you said about how it could become a 3D animation eventually. Would the Lego World Builder people be able to do that, or do you mean like someone might pick it up and make it into a 3D
It would be
animation?
I'd have to figure out how to do it unless I
Oh,
can.
okay, yourself, fair enough.
Potentially long term, I could try to pitch it to Lego. It's not there yet.
Yeah.
It's still interesting that they've uh, picked up the comic. It's like a third party group that's affiliated with Lego that's made it technically. And I don't quite know what the future of the project is. I'm grateful for all the people who have worked with me, and I think that the stories have good content in them.
For sure.
I'm just working on making the so I want to make something that I can look back on in 10 years and say that is a good product rather than that was I tried and that's where I am right now. I'm trying to figure out how I can make something that I can look back on and be proud of and feel like I've respected the people who have worked with me.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I was going to say if you did like somehow have enough time to 3D animate it yourself, would you get in contact with like voice actors who worked on it before, like myself and other people, or?
Uh, Pretty much. If and when I figure out how I'm going, there are plans for short form videos. Many of them will have voiceovers. Some of them may or may not be voice acted by you.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I have concepts, but at that phase, I've been just trying to finish that stupid episode and get it out. It's like posing that I had to rebuild pretty much all the set pieces from scratch after the move. That took months, actually, just because they weren't designed to be moved. They were a modular system I designed not to be moved. I designed everything to look pretty, like the up to my visual aesthetics, and none of that was very well planned for what I had in mind. It doesn't work with stop motion because of how I designed the set pieces.
Yeah.
Everything about it, I set myself up to fail, basically. And by turning things over to a virtual format, I'll be able to do things. I'll be able to mass produce in some areas, and working within that 3D space, I am like a bunch of the pictures had cat hair in them. I had to edit those out. And I didn't catch that on the preview. So there's always stuff like that I won't have to worry about. Virtual, it's all too up in the air. There is enough content for over 3 seasons of 22 plus episodes, 22 minutes runtime. There's enough content for that. A bunch of half-baked scripts for that I would absolutely adore to write out and tell, but I can't do that properly in a time and feel like I can be proud of that, if that makes sense.
That's fair enough, man. You've got to do what sits right with you at the end of the day. And looking back, and as you said, you want to look back on it in 10 years and be proud of it rather than think I half-arsed it.
So what might end up happening is at some point picking up individual scenes from those stories, make those highlights, and depending on how things go with the quality of that, I'd be looking into where I can go from there to tell the stories, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair enough, man. You could get Patrick Stewart on board, maybe.
I wouldn't want him even if he offered. Patrick Stewart hates Star Trek, and he hates being associated with Star Trek.
No.
And it's really hilarious.
No. With Picard, surely I saw a scene of that, and he looked like he was loving his life when he was going like, whoa, with the sword and like.
Maybe back then, but like if you look at him, if you hear how he was interviewed, he hated how he was defined by that work. He is a professional thespian actor.
Oh god, that's just cringing it, man.
So, like, he's a phenomenal actor, and was perfect in the role of the character. He's in that role, he was absolutely aspirational. But how, like in the new stuff, he explicitly the new series he's produced, it's a vanity project. He explicitly said that he didn't want to be in a uniform. That's why in the first 2 seasons he wasn't in a uniform.
Yeah.
And he's been brought back in the 3rd season kicking and screaming in that uniform. And I find that wonderful.
It definitely,
he deserves it.
I mean, the thing is, I'm not being funny, but when you've got actors like, if he hates being associated with Star Trek, you've got actors like him and Harrison Ford who are like, oh, I don't like my biggest work. Harrison Ford's like, oh, I don't like Star Wars. I wish everyone knew me for my other stuff.
Yeah, and like Harrison Ford was frankly more professional about it. He wasn't trying to change Star Wars to suit his needs. He got screwed in a different way. But Picard specifically, it wasn't just that it was the fact that he tried to change Star Trek into a very sloppy, thespian-esque caricature. And that's not what Star Trek is. Red Letter Media had probably the best breakdown of that, of just going on this ramble about how characters in Star Trek, they talk like, frankly, very nerdy adults who are trying to solve a problem, while Patrick Stewart, he wants to talk as he would write in his diary. Every line has to be something that he would write in his diary, it feels like. That's a very poor way of articulating it, but that's how I felt watching what I'd have of his series, and I really can't. That's not what Star Trek is as its core. It's this often boring but very methodical science fiction in a military setting. And that's not what. And Patrick Stewart was understandably not happy with being defined by that as his legacy.
Thing is, though,
yeah,
I was going to say, the thing is, right, with these actors, I know you said Harrison Ford did it in a more professional way, and that's a fair play, but I think they need to realise that if it wasn't for Star Wars, Harrison Ford wouldn't have been in, like, Indiana Jones, The Fugitive, etc. Highly unlikely anyway, because that's what catapulted him. Patrick Stewart wouldn't have been in all the other stuff, which is more underground, and that he would rather his legacy be. He wouldn't even be in that stuff if it wasn't for Star Trek. I know there's a small chance he would have been, but
he was already a phenomenal actor, and he would have done well, but he despises, like a lot of artists despise how their less famous work, like Patrick Stewart has been in plays and all that sort of stuff. Even more recently, some of them were actually plays that were put on movies. Like I think there was a version of Macbeth he did back in the mid 2000s, and he was great in that. But he wishes, like, just the impression I get is he wishes, he's a little bit bitter that genre television is what he's known for, rather than something he considers high art. If that makes sense.
The thing is, to the casual, I mean, I haven't done much research into the Patrick Stewart jazz, so I didn't realise. But yeah, it says on Google he's been acting since 1959. So yeah, but the thing is, with all the high art stuff, at the end of the day, that isn't going to be appreciated by the casual audience. That isn't what's pushed on telly. That isn't what people know. At the end of the day, not everyone has watched Train Spotting, and you know what else is a really fun artistic film. I don't know, Pulp Fiction. I
It
know
feels like
those.
everyone's watched that one.
No, not everyone's watched Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
There's something. I sorry, I thought you said everyone has watched Pulp Fiction. I thought, nah. But I was gonna say, right, Patrick Stewart. I'm sorry, but he was in the Emoji Movie, and he plays a poo. I haven't watched it, but I've seen the scene where, where he's running around as a poo with his son poo, and he's going, "We're number two, we're number two," and I'm just thinking, bro, how can you be upset that your legacy is in Star Trek? Yeah,
So
you do.
so one thing is it's a big paycheck. There's a really big paycheck, and he goes like, "Fine, I'll do it." And
No. He goes, make it so. No, first he goes, no, I'm not playing the poo. Are you joking me? Then 2 million quid. Make it so. Hello,
yeah,
Sean, how's it going? What's good?
yeah.
Bro?
Hey, the man enthusiasts. But I haven't looked into honestly haven't looked into it that much. But it just like hearing the kernels I've heard about it. That's the impression I get.
Fair enough, then.
And like I understand why he'd be. I understand why he wouldn't want to wear the uniform again. But if he had that opinion, he shouldn't have come back to Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. He should have just done something else, and or
Just come back for a cameo, say hi. I'm the ambassador now. New crew, go F off. Do your new.
No. He says Weasley, and then just runs off. Or is it Wesley?
That works.
Sorry, Wesley.
He deserves it. He absolutely deserves it.
Wasn't he meant to be a load of shit in it or something, Wesley?
He was the author insert character. He was literally Gene Roddenberry's author insert character. That's not even a joke. That's him as a child. It's awful, absolutely awful. It's not good.
What's wrong with Wesley then? Is he just like cringy? Because they say he's like the Jar Jar Binks of the Star Trek.
So imagine writing a self-insert fic as the creator of Star Trek, and that's basically Wesley.
Yeah, that'd be a bit strange, wouldn't it? If you've, I mean, I don't blame writers for doing this because they like wanna.
I do.
Nah, but the thing is, I'm not being funny, but some stuff I haven't ever published a script or anything. But when I've come up with stories, I've wanted like one character to be a bit like me, if that makes sense.
Like
an over exaggerated version.
Like you could say that, but at the same time, it's when you kind of set them like your self-insert character is often this other tier of character. Like you can write good fan fiction, but the worst fan fiction is someone who's just like, oh, I talk to these characters. I know how to solve the problem. And that's what Wesley is.
That is pretty gimpy.
So he does get better in some of the later episodes. Like there's an episode where he screws up pretty royally, and it's a pretty good morality play. That one's quite enjoyable. And stuff. He does have a few episodes where he's actually decent. But self-inserts, like there's a different category when it comes to writing. Like there's a character where it's like you write what you know. So some extent, all of the characters you write are different aspects of yourself.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a really
and you can do that in an interesting way. Like you can explore different parts of your own personality, and that may like your own inner conflicts, and that can help explore the human condition. And that's perfectly all well and good. And it's when that character becomes basically favored or representation of you that they tend to become segregated from. They don't feel like they're an integrated part of the world. They feel like this outside observer who is in a forced introduction that doesn't belong in the story.
Yeah. I mean, Jar Jar Binks was definitely a self-representation of George Lucas, wasn't he? You know,
not really. I feel like
that was George Lucas in real life, just running around going, "Moi, moi, I love you," and
so Jar Jar was just someone who was created by a man who was not getting enough feedback, And let's be honest, if there was someone who was doing the goofy Jar Jar stuff in real life, that would be kind of fun. But if they do it on a movie and that's all you hear for all 2 hours, you start to hate that character.
Well,
Like,
no, I was gonna. Oh, sorry. Go on. I'll say it for a second.
like everything wrong with the prequels can just be broken down to the fact that George Lucas was not given a pie in the face when he deserved one.
Yeah.
And I feel like Jar Jar was created genuinely with an attempt to create this childlike child reference character done very, very poorly and very, very unlikably to everyone but absolute children.
Yeah. I was gonna say one of my friends, he's on the podcast, Liam. He does laugh at stuff, but wait, what's Aaron put here? Jar Jar's tongue could do magical things. So there you go. That's probably why George Lucas loved him so much.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, what if I make this CGI character who does all this weird stuff? But it doesn't fit the tone or the style of the original trilogy. And that's one of the reasons the prequels feel tonally out of place.
I was going to say, right, one of my mates, though, he doesn't really laugh at a lot of silly stuff, Liam, but he said, like, that Jar Jar Binks is actually funny and that he actually finds him funny. And there's nothing wrong with that because humour's subjective, but, like, I'm thinking a dude who doesn't laugh at a lot of silly humour, yet he finds, like, Jar Jar Binks going, I speak and, wow, monster! You know, like, he finds that funny. But to be honest, if I went back in time to 1999, though, and I saw that in the cinema, I'd probably laugh my arse off and think Star Wars is absolutely fucked. So I'd just be like, well, they've screwed it, haven't they? Well done. You know, this is ridiculous. Because I was just going to say quickly, not only Jar Jar Binks was weird, because I rewatched it. I rewatched The Phantom Menace to like tier list the Star Wars films with my mates. And like the acting in that film was so weird. Everyone was just like, yes, blah, 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 blah. Apart from Jar Jar Binks, it was bizarre. It was a really weird film. Liam could play the next Jar Jar. I honestly, they need to pay him 100 million to do that. Honestly, they should do that. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I feel like all that comes back to, didn't George Lucas himself direct those films?
Yeah.
And while the others, he was like a creative driving force, but he was always wrestling with other people for control. And frankly, sometimes just one person's artistic vision is enough. But other times, especially more in movies, you need someone to give you a pie in the face and say, no, that's a terrible idea. We are not doing that, period. And for like, you weren't getting that direction with the expressiveness. That's why all of like the prequels, all of them spoke kind of weirdly. Like they didn't have, George Lucas needed to have partnered with someone who can say, you know, I get what you're doing with the Jedi are supposed to be dry and boring and stuff, but what if we did it in a more interesting way or something?
Exactly. Like the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Mind you, though, his favourite Clone Wars episode was that one where they're in the bloody desert, and I'm thinking, God, the man has no... I mean, I don't want to say the man has no taste, but, like, come on, that episode was just a bunch of boredom. That was just weird. But I guess he's an old man, so I'm not, you know, generalising old blokes, but, like, they're probably not going to be as down with it as you or me or, you know, or other young people. Well, actually, no, they're going to have different tastes. That's the best way to put it. Not that they're not down with it. That's a bit disrespectful. I will play youngling and James will play mate. Well, that wouldn't really work very well, Aaron, because like you're like, you know, like 3 times my size, so it wouldn't really work that well. Like what
everything's deep faked now. It'll be fine.
Oh yeah, okay, cool, yeah. So yeah, you can play youngling. You can get shrunk down to like 4'11", and I'll be sized up to 6'3", and yeah, and shave my head bald. Easy work, free money, easy money.
Yeah, there's virtually you're physically you're perfect for the role.
Exactly, yeah. You know, you could play Boss Nass. That would be brilliant. Mace Windu, Boss Nass, a youngling road trip all over Coruscant. Amazing. You can go,
yeah, that's
you know.
Yes, that would be absolutely perfect. I'd be a shoo-in for the role.
Yeah. You just need a fat suit on, then it'll go perfectly. It'll go swimmingly.
Real talk, though, the definitive version of the Star Wars prequels is the Lego Star Wars movie.
What do you mean, the Lego Star Wars movie?
Not the Lego Star Wars movie, the Lego Star Wars video game.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, I thought, what the hell's the Lego Star Wars movie? Yeah, the Lego Star Wars the video game. Yeah, that is the definitive edition. It's far more. Obi-Wan's far more entertaining. That the story's told a lot better. There's more emotion in the scenes. Yeah, it's just the definitive version.
But yeah, maybe we should move on to the next topic.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, because obviously the last podcast we did together, I know you've been on the Brick Flick a few times, but I haven't been interested in Lego as much, so I've sort of, the Brick Flickers took a bit of a back seat. But I just, on the last podcast that you were on, right, you said about how you don't like the Bad Batch and the Mandalorian Season 2 ain't the best, etc. So I'm really intrigued. What is your all-time favourite film and TV show? Personal fave.
Honestly, it's hard for me to say what my favorite is. I wouldn't say I'm a film buff. Like if I see an interesting movie, I'll just pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I would say that Star Trek is probably my favorite franchise, just because of like how they approach problems. Is I find that very I don't know, very wholesome, I guess. Just maybe part of it is just how I just like that sort of genre. Okay, we're dealing with a problem, and some goofy things happen along the way. You get some fun personal interactions, and I would say that Deep Space Nine gets away with the most because it has a bunch of characters who are not in the military. So seeing them interact with military characters played straight, sometimes it results in these interesting dynamics, and other times you get these absurd scenarios that wouldn't exist in any other show.
Yeah, because I know there's a geezer behind the bar, isn't there, with the big ears, and he's the barman in Deep Space.
And he's the most arch capitalist, and he's played absolutely straight, and it's absolutely hilarious. All of the little schemes he comes up with to conniving schemes to get his hands on all the wealth. It's wonderful. Favorite movie, I would say, just for bias reasons, the Lego movie. I feel like that's probably, I know it's a cheap one to go with that, but just it does a very good job in capturing what the Lego brand is about. Just with how the relationship is between the father and the son. But like how they approach it, how Lego is meant to be played with. And while there's nothing wrong with like building the sets, what is core to the Lego brand is seeing what other people have done and iterating on that, coming up with experimenting, playing, and building with each other. And none of the other movies quite did that in the Lego movie franchise. I would say favorite of all time. Ever since Wall-E came out, I had a soft spot for that movie. Just how
nice respect.
Just how the characters interacted with each other. There was no voices, and yet just through how the characters are animated, you know exactly how they're feeling. And that was absolutely very unique in how they communicated emotion through non-speaking robots and making that appeal to a mainstream audience. That's very impressive how they managed to do that.
Yeah, big respect to them for that. Just don't get yourself cancelled. Do I really need a fat suit? Nah. And Breaking Bad metastasis is great. Is that like a Breaking Bad meme? I should know this as I'm a Breaking Bad fan.
I haven't actually seen Breaking Bad. There's a bunch of shows like that are on my list. Like, probably I haven't seen anything from the Breaking Bad. It's hard to believe that's a franchise.
I know, yeah.
But it's on my list to watch at some point. I just don't have any services that have it on. But like I could tell you, gush for hours about my favorite Doctor Who or Star Trek episodes, or even like I really like a bunch of like The Orville, which is Seth MacFarlane's parody, but not a parody Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. Do you find it funny in Family Guy where they make fun of Shatner and he's going like, "I am going around here," you know, in the early episodes?
I honestly haven't watched that much Family Guy,
Okay.
but my wife and I will every once in a while will just mimic Peter Griffin or Lois with the stupid laugh, or
Yeah. Peter.
like we just do that, and that's our entirety of our exposure to Family Guy. And I'd prefer to leave it with at that. The clips I've seen are not funny at all.
I mean, to be honest, some of the old episodes are pretty good. Some of the old episodes make me smile. But yeah, it's the cutaway stuff, especially the later ones, aren't the best.
Yeah, it feels like a contractual obligation, like The Simpsons.
Yeah, I was going to say though, with the McFarlane Shatner jokes, basically, Shatner actually watches all the jokes of him on YouTube, and he's so unimpressed by it, he can't handle the banter at all. He's just like, "Oh, this is nothing like me. This is nothing like me. Oh, that's nothing like me. I do." And it's like, bro, come on, they're only having a laugh. Laugh at yourself a bit, man. Stop taking yourself so seriously. You wear. He has a wig at the end of the day. I'm not. There's nothing wrong with wearing a wig, but like, if you can't embrace your baldness, you know, you're not taking yourself that seriously. If I went bald, I mean, I know I've got a good shaped head, but I'd definitely be, be taking myself serious if I was bald. But if I wasn't taking myself serious, I'd wear a wig. And I just feel like Shatner just takes himself way too seriously. He just sort of needs
to
laugh at himself a bit. But I guess that makes his reaction to the Shatner impressions so much funnier. It's Columbia remake. Put your dick away, Walter.
It's cute how Shatner genuinely loves his character, but it's also really annoying at the same time. He's up his arse in the exact opposite way as Patrick Stewart, and
yeah, he takes it far too seriously. He's like, "I love Star Trek, amazing, Kirk, because he wanted to." Because I know he wanted to come back for Star Trek 2009, didn't he? But that wouldn't have made any sense because he got to come back for Generations, and that was a load of old arse. That was just like bloody. He came back, and because
they didn't do a good job with him either in that movie.
I just want to make this really big point, right? So this is a bit of a tangent, but in The Final Frontier, the only good takeaway I had from that film is, I'm not going to go into it to loads, but like the character, he uses people's fears against them and takes their fears away with illusions and stuff. And Shatner's like, "I need my pain makes me human," and all that. And I thought, man, so much respect to you, bro. You know, you're talking truth there. At the end of the day, there is no good without the bad and the suffering and the negative. You don't appreciate the positive without the negative. So the thing is, in that film, I thought that's the only sort of positive thing I took from that film, because the rest of it was just rubbish. But then, obviously, we have the Undiscovered Country and then Generations. Then when he comes back in Generations, he says to Picard's like, "We need your help." And he's like, mate, look, I'm chilling here. I'm having a laugh. I'm having a good time. Fuck off. And then he's like, "Make it so. We need you now." And then what happens is that bloke just shoots him off the bridge, and Shatner's like, "Ah!" And then he goes, "Oh my," and dies. And I'm thinking, what a rubbish way to send a character off. It's like a joke. If I told that to imagine someone watching like the first series of Star Trek, and I said, "Yeah, how Captain Kirk dies. He just flies off a bridge," and then he goes, "Oh my." I mean, you'd probably die of laughter. Then you realise, oh, it's the actual episode. I like the OJ Simpson episode. Nah, that one was rubbish. That one was crap.
I know the one OJ joke about maybe we need different roommates. That's a little bit funny, but I haven't seen it.
Oh yeah. That was quite funny. Yeah, but the OJ Simpson episode, that was the point of Family Guy, where I think series 4 onwards. I know I'm sounding like a weird cartoon hipster, but series 4 onwards, it was pretty much series 4 to series 6, very hit and miss. Series 7 onward, series 7 just pretty bad. Then series 8 onwards, mostly just like pretty shit, unless you're drunk or want to switch your brain off.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, they could make an episode on him, but they're not like South Park level satire, are they?
South Park. I haven't even seen all of South Park because I don't have access to their library right now. But I've seen the South Park movie. That was wonderful. Have you ever seen Team America?
I've heard it's very similar to the South Park movie, but no, I haven't seen it. I've heard it's pretty badass, pretty funny.
It's the best American military documentary out there. I'd say that.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take your word for it.
Take from that what you will.
Well, next topic I wanted to move on to, unless you got any more points about that, or
no, that's good.
but
yeah.
Now, another thing you said on the last podcast you was on was about how Star Wars and Marvel, oversaturated, etc. Since then, I was actually watching most of the Marvel shows. Basically, I was watching Miss Marvel, and I thought, I'm liking this slice of life show. And then she went to the episode when she went to Pakistan and fought that bloke. I was like, it's all right. And then for some reason, I just completely lost interest in Marvel TV shows. And then I heard She-Hulk was a bag of arse. The only scenes I saw was Tim Roth in it, because it's cool to see him in stuff, I guess, and the twerking scene, which was absolutely phenomenal. But apart from those two scenes, I mean, I haven't watched the rest of it, but I heard it's absolute rubbish. And Star Wars, I know you don't like a lot of the Star Wars shows, but I think they've been all right. I've been watching the latest Bad Batch. First 2 episodes were good. I don't know if you watched it, but I'd say they were good overall. 3rd episode, amazing, phenomenal. 4th episode, very, very below average. I was pretty annoyed. Well, a bit annoyed at it. Very filler.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up with the latest Disney product. I have heard that Andor is good.
Yeah, bro, amazing. It's the only Star Wars show to make me cry. Only Star Wars content to make me cry.
I might watch it at some point. I hear it has like maybe some pacing issues, but aside from that, it's really good. I still haven't watched the 2nd season of The Bad Batch. I'm just so dialed out from what's happened to what's happening with everything else in the franchise that I'm just barely I could see myself saying, "Oh, I'm going to watch this," and then I have to see this the rest of the garbage pipeline before something else good comes along in several years. And so I'm not invested in the franchise. If it was on, I'd watch it and enjoy it. Those 2, I'm sure. But the rest, Mandalorian, it was a little bit overrated. It has great visuals, but in terms of story value, it's a huge step down from the Clone Wars. Boba Fett was good. In terms of Marvel, I haven't really watched any of it. I can't force myself to do that anymore.
I understand Marvel and Boba Fett, but bro, Mandalorian's amazing, man. But if Aaron's still here, he's commenting stuff, he'll agree with you. Aaron thought the Mandalorian was rubbish. George will love South Park 200, where Tom Cruise and Gingers want Muhammad. I know why George didn't like Miss. Oh, well, yeah, he was just a bit. He was just a bit silly with that show. I know a lot of people don't like the show, but I thought it was a great slice of life show, to be honest. But I've been watching so many Marvel shows that I just lost interest.
Yeah, that's the same thing. WandaVision started out pretty darn good, and after that, it just wasn't what I was hoping for in terms of different character studies. They squandered so many opportunities in terms of what they could write, and I'm not going to be loyal. I'm not going to be loyal to some franchise that doesn't even pay proper respect and dignity to its own characters and legacy, which seems to be how Marvel and Disney have been treating it at large, with exception to projects like Andor.
Yeah, I need that Grogu rated R scene in season 3 to make me enjoy the show. Aaron, all I can do is tell you that Goat does not approve of that comment, and I think you need to check yourself into a therapist.
Honestly, I just don't approve of Grogu and how he was incorporated into the Mandalorian story.
What? He was brilliant. He was hilarious. He was good bands.
He should have just moved on with Luke. That should have been the end of it.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. But I mean, before that, he was pretty good.
I honestly feel like he was a tag-along character, a fun tag-along character, but in many ways I kind of associate him with Jar Jar, frankly. What I wanted from the Mandalorian is like, yes, I see you. You can threaten me all you like, but what I wanted from the Mandalorian is just proper Western bounty hunter stories that were very simple and tightly written, and that's not what we got at all.
Fuming!
Okay, thank you.
No, I mean, sorry, I didn't pay attention to that last point. I was too busy just farting around with the camera. I mean, each to their own in it. I guess you said Grogu's a fun tag along character, but obviously he's just a tag along character. But I guess he saves Mando's life a few times, and the Jar Jar and Grogu show. Oh no! Oh dear! Oh dear!
Why not? It's for both characters are for kids. But yeah, I like the reason the reason Grogu's still here is because he sells so much merch. He's basically a minion.
You bought a lot of Grogu merch, haven't you? Beneath all that Lego is a Grogu shrine. So
No.
yes.
No.
Are you sure?
Are you going to mute me again and project words into my mouth?
I never muted you, Go. That was you talking earlier. That was you. James,
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yes. My mistake.
I haven't farted on the camera, Aaron. I mean, if you pay me a bit of cash, I can fart on the camera. If you put if you pay me 50p and a carrot and a parsnip, I'll do it for you.
I hope that's a violation of YouTube's terms and
yeah. Go. You regret being a guest on here as soon as I fart. You're like, I hope the podcast gets taken down.
I hope you get demonetized. Not that you're monetized. I'm not sure that you are.
Firing shots at me for no reason. Disgrace. But yeah, I guess it's true. I'm not monetized, sadly.
Maybe someday.
George should hopefully, yeah. George should be in the character. I mean, that would be hilarious. George, I'll be like, Moi, I love you, and going around being an idiot, slapping people. Grogu would just be like, what the hell's going on? George would just be like, it, and like he tried it his way out of situations, and Jar Jar would go, moi, and it'd be like a clash of them trying to get themselves out of situations, and the universe wouldn't be able to handle it. And Grogu would probably have to force kill both of them, like combust their bodies and destroy them both, and that'd be the end of the show.
Maybe like just Grogu should be like, I don't think he's good as like a main character because he can't talk, he can't really interact with other characters, and because of his slow aging, he won't ever get to that point. So it's not that as interesting as to watch like characters that are the characters just aren't as dynamic as I wish they were, or
yeah.
I wish they told different stories than the ones they chose to. I felt like they were wasted opportunities. Not that what they did was necessarily bad. It just wasn't as like this guns blazing, very I just felt like the character development for the Mandalorian could have been handled much differently.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, I thought the Mandalorian was brilliant, but I get why some people would have their minor problems with the writing, I suppose.
It's a fun ride. I just can't get anything more than that out of it, if that makes sense.
Fair enough, man. Each to their own. Go. I was gonna say, do you know what an it is? Like me and my squad have made it up. Could you guess what it is or what it means?
Is it to repel the Knights of Ni?
What does that mean?
Eat.
Oh. No, basically what it means is one of our friends, he's sort of like, well, George, you've been on the Brick Flip with him before. He's sort of been in situations where he's used his just his being to get away with things. That's the nicest way to put it. So Like he did some daft things in school, like really daft things that a regular kid would get in trouble for. But because it's George, he'd get away with it. So
Mhm.
it's sort of like he his way out of the situation,
I see.
So, but it's not just him who can anyone can go Like you could, I don't know, let's say you just started acting daft to Club Brick and John was like, Goat, what are you doing? I thought you were uploading this video to Club Brick. What are you going on? And then you're like, then you come up with some weird answer and say, well, it wasn't signed on a contract, was it? And he's like, well, no, but you said it, you that'd be you itting you out of the situation. Not that you do that, but use this power. That's the nicest way to put it. Yeah, about George.
I'll need to come up with my own formulation, but you may be onto something there.
you're gonna try and go around being a bit of a delinquent and itting you out of the situation. I think your it would be.
It would be more of a judgmental glare.
Your it would be Professor Goat here, and then just leave it at that. Everyone's got an it. There's other people on the podcast. Liam's it is yes, but he never ease. Someone else who's on the podcast, another friend of mine who's on once in a while, Ben. It's just an inside joke, but we say his it is liberal agenda, and that's it. Who else has got an it? I think Aaron's is just and I think mine is just like I don't know, insert silly joke or something, insert weird impression,
be loud.
That's it. Yeah, mine is There you go. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so one thing I wanted to ask though, Goat, have you given up on Star Wars and Marvel completely, or would you reckon you'll return to it?
Not under its current leadership. Like there's talented people working on all these different projects. It's just that the people who are often running it are basically processing every decision through an algorithm. And sometimes that algorithm will turn out something halfway decent. Yeah. Or sometimes the algorithm will take a step back and let people do what they need to do. But in terms of the direction they're going, I don't think on the whole I feel like there's a lot of lessons they just haven't learned on the top level of how to run things, and just the direction of Marvel going into the whole multiverse direction, the whole direction of the last few movies just seems like a mess. As much as I enjoy the last Spider-Man movie, it's just feels like how they handled the characters is just kind of baffling to me. I don't see I've always enjoyed. I'm of the opinion that I like superheroes, I like sci-fi, I like pretty much any pop culture stuff you throw at me. But I didn't appreciate Star Wars until the Disney era, and I enjoyed the Marvel movies, but I didn't really appreciate them until after WandaVision, because the quality has started to dip. So you don't realize what you have until it's gone.
Yeah, and I was thinking that.
Maybe if the right creative people were involved, there's plenty of talent if it was under the right direction and leadership. As long as it's not under the She-Hulk writers. But it's possible it can make a turnaround. I just don't trust Disney and their very outlook on the brand. It just seems incredibly shallow, and I just despise Disney. And it would be my dream if that company declares bankruptcy and burns to the ground. Here's the thing. Listen to this.
No.
Here's the thing. Once it burns to the ground, imagine if anyone could make a Star Wars show, not just the people who sometimes have a good idea. Anyone could tell their own story, because right now it's 80 to 100 years before something exits the intellectual domain. So it's of the mercy of the giant monolithic corporation to choose a person who loves the story and can tell a good story. So if that person, but whoever's in charge isn't necessarily, I'm not going to, like if you purchase someone else's painting and call that your painting and your work, it's under a different direction. You have to earn that legacy and title. And I feel like the way they've been treating it of recent, the original people who have been working on the project are gone, and what they've left isn't, I don't feel like they've earned the legacy they're writing for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I mean, the thing is, a big corporation like Disney, obviously, I'd rather someone new take over than it burn to the ground, just because I like being able to access Futurama and all the cool shows on demand on Disney Plus. However, I do get where you're coming from. It is frustrating when a big corporation is just like, nah, only these people can make Star Wars. Because obviously before Star Wars was just George Lucas, and he was just like, oh, everyone can just do what they want. And you had all different sorts of Star Wars content flying all over the place, which is cool. Well, obviously now it is just Disney making the choices.
But like what you could have is like you could have the some sort of like if the company itself doesn't respect the original intellectual property, I don't mean this in a legal sense, but I do feel that spiritually the property belongs to the creator and its consumers, its fans, and the someone who would write like there's far better fan fiction for Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, DC than anything being produced right now. And those people will never have an opportunity to write their movies because because there's this giant IP owned by a corporation, instead of being able to feel like, okay, I have this great idea. Everyone thinks it's a great idea, but I can't get the license. But I can't make this because I have this friend who has a few $1 million who's willing to help me make a movie. So those fan film indie projects have no chance. Those passion projects made with so much love never get to be made because there's no chance of a return on investment, if that makes sense. Like recently we saw like Winnie the Pooh spin-off movies.
Oh dear, yeah, the killer Winnie the Pooh film, which is really bizarre.
Which is a gimmick, but it's someone else is taking a stab at it who had nothing to do with the original creator. I don't think that would be a necessarily good movie. It sounds like a gimmick, but that's it's no longer under the control because the original creators, like the death of the author, is long past, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of went on a ramble with that.
No, that's fair enough. We hate the liberal agenda. I wouldn't go that far, Aaron. Yours is shouting, George! George! Yeah, sure, that can be my it. Could Goat put a white hat on to go with his white outfit? Yeah, could you, Goat?
I don't have one.
Could you? You don't have one? Get one!
I'll think about it.
Okay,
I'm working on the next set of the new Professor headset, and it does have white rims.
Oh, nice. Just make it a Star Wars fan. Yeah, Go. What you need to do is pay me money so I can take months off work and find a new job in X amount of time. I come to your state. We just make Star Wars fan film. Job's a good one. You pay for Aaron and Liam as well while you're at it. That'd be a good idea with all the Lego money coming in. You know, the big Lego books.
All right, we'll talk. We'll be in talks.
That's good. That's good. You know, it makes sense. But yeah, well, and the Killer Grinch. Wait, is that a real thing? I'm guessing not. No way they've done a Killer Grinch.
I don't know who owns the rights to the Dr. Seuss books at this point.
It's Jim Carrey, isn't it? I think. I think so.
I don't know.
It is. It's Jim Carrey.
Beats me. Oh, I have no idea.
Now, obviously, I'm messing, but you could have a. Yeah, this is a good idea.
That's not going to happen. Good try.
Sure?
Yeah, I'm very certain about that.
Oh, never mind then. You sure? You 100%?
I am absolutely positive.
Okay. Could we make a goat clan with that on there?
I get royalties.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, George put it in the Christmas special. What? Oh, Killer Grinch. I mean, if they're doing that, that's really weird. But I guess they can, they can do anything nowadays with films. Can't? Well, okay, not anything as Goat mentioned earlier, because obviously, big corporations own shit. But that's weird that they're doing shit with the Grinch, going around killing people. But I guess that's life. Are you sure? I swear, I think he means like there's a Santa film where David Harbour goes around killing people.
Oh yeah,
I think
I've
George
heard about that one.
stuff.
Possibly, I have no idea, but that's another movie that's on my long list.
Is Stranger Things on your long list of TV shows though?
I saw the first season was really enjoyable. The second and third were
What?
the second was pretty didn't do very much new.
Damn.
The
I get,
third did something new. I didn't think it was great, and I haven't watched anything since that.
bro, serious. Because the thing is, I think objectively it gets better and better, like on a first watch. But on a rewatch, I think like the first one's probably the best. I haven't rewatched it, but like from a story standpoint, like I binged the third series in like one day. I absolutely loved it. I get why people
I
don't
enjoyed the
like it.
third one. I
I
enjoyed
don't
the
get.
third one.
I was gonna say I get why people don't like the second and third as much as the first one, but I do, because there's certain things that I just really enjoy about them. But like I get where people are coming from, because the first one is like unraveling and solving a mystery, while the second and third one are just like taking on Demogorgons and the Upside Down and helping Will with his, upside down demon. But I don't want to spoil the fourth season, because there is an ex. Well, I'm not going to say anything.
I've
I'm not
heard it
gonna
has some good bits.
Yeah, there's some good explanations in there, but it is honestly the fourth is the best in my opinion. I absolutely love it. There are some Stranger Things fans online who are like, "Oh no, number one's still the best," blah 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 blah, and I'm like, oh, "Okay, whatever." But like number four, amazing, absolutely loved it. The final, a lot of the episodes are an hour long. The finale is 2 hours 20, and it's all brilliant. I love it. I absolutely love Stranger Things series 4, man, and I highly recommend you watch it when you get the chance. It really,
Wasn't it split into two parts?
yeah. When the
Are both
first
parts
half
out now? Are both parts
Yes,
out now?
yeah. When the first part ended, I was genuinely like, "Whoa, that's pretty damn amazing! What a twist! What a twist!" As they're saying, Robot Chicken.
All
But
right. I'll take that under advisement. It's
yeah,
I wouldn't mind watching the fourth season. I feel like if I did watch it, I feel obliged to watch the first three again, which again, I felt like the second one was a logical continuation that I didn't enjoy. The first one I did enjoy, but I thought was kind of silly. But the fourth one, I'm sure I'd enjoy it.
good shit. Look up the meme one. Nah, I'll leave that. I'll leave that. Unless it's a really funny edgy meme, or is that the name of the Grinch film? I don't know.
I'd imagine that's the name of the movie.
Nah. But yeah, Stranger Things is amazing, very easy watch. I watch Breaking Bad where you get the chance. Better Call Saul. Have you ever seen Prison Break?
I have not.
Yeah, that's also amazing as well.
Is that a movie or?
They did make a Prison Break film, but it's mostly a TV show. First season, one of the best seasons of any show I've ever watched ever. It's up there. Second season, amazing, logical continuation, done very well. Third season really takes a big dive, not very good. And fourth season, it's kind of good, but there's a big gaping hole in it. And the movie's fun. It's well above average, I'd say. And season 5 is slap bang average. It's just like, well, adding a bit extra.
All right.
There's a certain thing that I guess I like about. I think no, Aaron. I think that's Orange is the New Black. I think I'm not sure. Prison Break is about a bunch of blokes. So even if they were all gay, it wouldn't be a lesbian film. So, but yeah, Prison Break's about a bunch of blokes, not women. Well, there are some ladies in it. There's someone from Rick's wife from The Walking Dead. She's in it. She plays a pretty good part in it. Because I know in The Walking Dead they didn't like her. I can't even remember her name. Laurie, I think, isn't it?
I wouldn't know. I've never been
Oh,
interested
sorry.
in the zombie stuff.
I'm trying to think. Have you watched Game of Thrones at least?
I was going to watch it until the 7th season came along, and I was like, oh, I get to watch all that just for it to crumble at the end.
Okay, cool.
Everything I've heard about House of the Dragon sounds really good so far, though.
Yeah, I've only watched 2 episodes because life has just got in the way, and I'm just trying to. The thing is, with watching stuff now, for me, I'm just watching. Most of the time, I'm watching shit to review it. So, like on the podcast, I'm not watching it for enjoyment. Stranger Things and Squid Game, I watch that for enjoyment, and bits of House of the Dragon, I watch for enjoyment. But most shit, it is to review on the podcast. Justin Roiland will be in the next prison series. Yeah, coming out swinging with the Justin Roiland jokes. I mean, the thing is, innocent until proven guilty. We need to see what's going on with him. You know, we got to wait until he gets found guilty.
Yeah, I haven't been following whatever's been happening there.
You remind me a bit of Rick and Morty combined.
Shut up.
No, you
Shut
do.
up.
You are a bit like both of them combined, I think.
Shut up.
So you agree?
No comment.
You know who else? I know. We discussed ages ago. You sound a lot like Sheldon. I think you also sound a lot like Caboose from Red versus Blue.
I don't know. Red versus Blue is still on my list. I've only seen like the first episode, and I thought it was pretty funny.
Hey, bro, watch that. Red versus Blue, right? Series 1 to 5, good, really innovative because it's all inside of. Well, okay, up until series 8, it's inside a video game. Basically, it's all filmed like in a machinima way. Series 8 onwards, they have like animation in it. I'd say series 1 to 5, it is pretty much just like it's walk from place to place, talking, pretty good story, etc. Series 6, very like it kicks it off a bit more. Series 7, not as amazing as Series 6, but still great fun. Series 8, amazing. Series 9, yeah, not as amazing as Series 8, but still great fun. Series 10, phenomenal. Then 11's, yeah, amazing. And 12 and 13, phenomenal. Love them. Best series
Is it still
of the
going?
show. I think it is. I'm just going to look it up. Basically, after Series 13, there was Series 14 was sort of I think it should have ended at Series 13, but I get why they did Series 14 because it was an anthology series. Then they continued it from Series 15 onwards, and I haven't got to that, but I've heard it's absolute, just not very good at all. The original cast left as well, I think, around Series 17, and now there's only like one person from the original cast left. Everyone else is like new.
That's a shame.
All right, Red versus Blue, 18 seasons. It says Red versus Blue. Let's see, season 19. Let's see if they've done it. Next season will be a continuation of it. I think it is still going because otherwise it'd say like it's over. But I think they need to end it now. It's just getting ridiculous.
Maybe do a spin-off if they need something. Well, that's wonderful.
He has been proven. Aaron, that's just you trying to cancel him, you bloody idiot. I'm kidding. No, I'm joking. If that is true, then that's horrible. Then I mean, what sort of texts were found? I'm guessing they were really mischievous, horrible ones and not good ones. So if that is the case, then I guess he'll be in the next prison series and fuck that guy, I guess. But still, what if it all gets found out to be all fake? You know. But anyway, yeah, I guess if it has been proven, then yeah, pretty lame. Depending on what the texts say, I'm assuming they're bad. But yeah. Because otherwise you wouldn't mention him.
Yeah. Like, I haven't been following that whole drama. I'm just gonna when it comes to stuff like that, the courts are usually pretty good about doing their thing.
Yeah. Well, they'll have you as the judge, to be fair, or the prosecutor.
I think that's a different kind of doctor.
What the? Sorry, I've just got a very bizarre message off of a friend of mine. If George is watching the pod, he probably thinks, oh, it's brilliant. James has opened Discord and just seen these very weird memes. There was something I was going to say. Oh, yeah. One thing I wanted to mention before we go on to the final topic or 2 topics. Can't remember how many left. But can you, like, pull your webcam off and do, like, a room tour, potentially? Or
Um,
Or just like a quick whip round of all the Lego? Or
it won't look good, but let's just say I'll give you a quick pan.
sketchy time. Hold on.
So yeah,
Hey.
everything's just kind of jumping around, but you can see that there is Lego up the wazoo. All sorts of different projects going on in the background. I might do a proper room tour someday, but
That'd be very cool on Club Brick, to be fair.
So-
with you, I wonder with you being so busy though, will Club Brick just have like zero content for like months? But I guess that's just down to John and Chris to figure out, isn't it?
So the idea is, if I can come up with a decent pipeline, I'll be making like an Asker little video, just a couple minutes once a month, maybe. I would love to do an essay. I've gotten a bunch of them halfway written down that I would love to do. And also in September for Shiptember, I am hoping to build the full Asker in 1-to-1 scale over 5 feet, and basically doing a long form video, maybe even some recording on that.
That'd be pure bounce.
So I'm hoping that'll happen, but I can't say for sure.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Thousands upon thousands of pieces, and I'm going to have to do some pretty big organization and orders just to be able to get to that point.
Yeah. So do you think you'll do any Club Brick live streams on your own or with other people in, or?
I really can't say for now. I'd love to. Club Brick, most of the team have been busy with other projects and have just kind of been focusing on other things right now, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I'm hoping that at least I can put out some videos every now and again. And I know that like the Asker is just frankly my vanity project, but I do hope that I can make something worthwhile out of that.
Mm-hmm. So Aaron's put Seki time text. Oh dear. Liam was even helping him out. What the hell have you? That's a very. You shouldn't be making jokes like that about Liam. He never do that, unless you refer to something else we saying, which I think you were. I hope you were anyway. Do you have many misprints? Many misprints go?
Not really. In terms of like Lego pieces that have weird printing on them, I have a few that are like slightly distorted or something, like the color is slightly off. That happens from time to time. I do have a prototype minifig head that has like little regions of the head broken up. Like there's an A, B, C, D, like a wheel on a clock of how the face is broken down, where the proportions are printed on it. That's not a misprint, but that's a production piece, and I have one of those, and it's very cool.
Right, sorry, what's the production piece? Sorry, I just sort of zoned out a bit.
Let me see if I can pull it up. I also have this one. This, I believe, is a production piece.
Aaron, has George? Hold on, Aaron, has George hacked your account? What the hell is this?
All right,
I'm not even reading that out loud. Why? What's that all about, Aaron? 1 out of 10.
All right, it's been sent in Discord.
Let's get it up. Let's get it up.
But yeah, I have no idea what it was for other than internal reference, but it's a very unique element.
Okay, interesting. I've just got it up. Let's. How do I? I might as well just share Discord screen. This is it.
Yep, that's the one. But you can see how it's broken up into different regions so that Lego designers can know, can say, okay, you have to do it near the middle of quadrant 10 or quadrant 7. And I'm pretty sure that's what it's for. How you know how like the map of whatever you're printing will match onto the figure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I have one of those, and that's pretty much it.
Very cool. Yes, I am George now. I knew it. All right, go. So to sound off though, I've got one last topic,
All right.
which I'm just finding now. I took a screenshot of all the topics. Not like, to be fair, some of them I count with on the fly, but some of them are. I pretty much got 4 topics I wrote down. Okay, so here we go. 2 more topics. Last Lego set you brought.
Last Lego set I purchased.
Yeah.
Multiple copies of the Galaxy Explorer.
Okay.
But it was on a really good deal, and I may have a closet filled with them.
I'm going to look up Lego the Galaxy Explorer.
So it's a remake of a
the Benny Spaceship, is it? Or
it's what the Benny spaceship is based on, remade using modern parts, 50% scaled up. It's absolutely a gorgeous set.
I mean, I will give you the credit. It does look really, really good. Bloody hell, 90 quid for it though. God. I mean, it's really nice. It does look really nice. Don't get me wrong.
It was on a crazy sale here in the States, and still by the parts count, it's a reasonably fair deal. How much does that equate to? I don't know what the conversion rate is. I think that dollars and euros have been converging pretty close in the last few years.
I'll just look it up. 90 quid in dollars. 9.
But honestly, by the parts per piece ratio and the size of it, it's even at that price, it's not a terrible deal at all.
$111.
Okay, that's more than it is here, but yeah, like I was surprised. Like it's 100 here. I was expecting it to be 120, and after that, it started getting on sale for like 75 and then 50 at one point. So yeah, definitely not 90 euros, a bit steep, it seems, but still not a terrible deal for such a collector's item. Yeah, that's the last thing I bought. I've been picking up a bunch of used pieces for work on various projects, planning ahead for the big Asker build in a few months.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that'll all be filmed, probably not live streamed, but at least some of it will be filmed.
Fair enough. Well, the next one I wanted to ask was any TV shows or film recommendations? Any at all?
Let's see. What have I been watching recently? I've recently watched a few heist movies. In terms of series, I honestly haven't had time to watch very much lately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, frankly, for the last few months, I haven't really watched very much of anything.
Oh, damn.
But part of it is because nothing's really gripped me, and everything that I am interested in is multi-seasons that I don't want to get hooked on and then have to, oh no, I got to tear myself away. I have to you have to mentally prepare for something like Breaking Bad or something that's like 10 plus seasons, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you. Is there any general recommendations and not something you watched recently, just anything, any recommendations at all, film and telly?
Trying to think of movies specifically. I recently found the original Indiana Jones at a thrift store, and I haven't seen that in like 5 years. So I'm looking forward to. I might even watch that tonight, actually.
Yeah, Raiders is absolutely awesome.
Absolutely fantastic movie. I think that the third one might be the best just for the chemistry with Sean Connery.
Yeah, that Henry Jones and Indiana. I know they're both called Henry, but Indiana and Henry bouncing off each other, phenomenal, man. And the comedy's done
great
so
chemistry, amazing chemistry.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, I know it's a bit like the action and everything is like each Indiana Jones film does have goofy, unrealistic action, but the thing is, like, it didn't bother me because like that's just the charm and the campiness, and it isn't taken too far. Or in the third one, it is a little bit sillier than the first, but it's done in such a funny manner, in such a casual manner. It doesn't bother me at all. It's just the comedy's amazing, story's amazing, characters are amazing. I just love the third one. To be fair, that's my personal favorite. If I had to pick the objectively best, I'd probably have to agree with you. I'd say the third one just a smidge is a bit better than the first one, just by a smidge.
If only for the chemistry between the main actors.
Yeah. When it comes to a villain, obviously that French dude is better than I can't remember his name. Is it Bellic or Bellac?
I'll be honest, I forgot the name of the villains.
Yeah, Bellac's better than that American fella in the third film. He's all right, he's a bit menacing and a bit of a tit, but Bellac's a really good, probably the best Indiana Jones villain.
All right. But yeah, I'm hoping to find the rest. Especially, I'm hoping I find the third one at a thrift store soon.
My Teacher, My Crush is a good show.
Never heard of that.
Me neither.
Let's see. I also have you ever seen Oblivion? I haven't watched that movie in like 7 years, but I found it at a thrift store, and I was like, I don't remember anything. I don't remember whether the story was good, but I remember it. I enjoyed it, and it had amazing visuals. So I'm gonna give that a watch sometime again soon too. I'm sure there's plenty of more new stuff. I haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, like there's a lot of stuff where I'll just wait to watch it on at home. We have this massive popcorn machines, and I have the exact kind of salt and oil that's used at movie theaters. So I basically have a movie theater at home with the perfect popcorn. And so I just wait until I just am content waiting a few months or years before I see a lot of new releases.
Fair enough. I mean, the thing is with the cinema is it can be a bit of a fun outing once in a while. I think going to cinema regularly, I mean, if you like it, you like it, but I don't like going on the regular. Unless
it's for the experience. It's for the experience, and I'm more of a homebody myself. So unless I'm going with someone else, I don't go, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Experiences like that are meant to be shared.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is as well, if you have all that shit at your own home, what's the point of like paying X amount of dollars just to sit in front of a big screen?
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said about just the majesty. I regret not seeing Top Gun in theaters. That was one of the few movies where I feel like I'm genuinely missed something by not seeing it in theater.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can wrap that one up there. Thank you so much for coming back on, Goat. Very
It was
cool.
good speaking to you.
100%, man. Hopefully we can do the Star Trek Season 1 review one of the days once I've got through it.
That's fair.
Yeah. That's all I've got to say. Anything you want to sound off with?
I could sign off for both of us.
Go on then. Yeah, I'll let you do the outro.
Very well. This has been the ALP podcast, not the Professor Goat podcast, with James and special guest Professor Goat. And until next time, play well.
See you later.